Iqbal Mohamed.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I welcome the opportunity to take part in this debate, and I would like to pay tribute to all my right honourable and honourable friends who've spoken before me and made extremely powerful, informed and personal contributions to this very important debate. According to the Office of National Statistics, in the year ending March 2024, there were 851,062 domestic abuse-related crimes reported in England and Wales. The NSPCC reported that police in England and Wales made an average of 669 child protection referrals per day to social services in the last year. And over this week, I was shocked to hear that there may be an average of 500,000 children a year being abused in our country. And we, in this place, must do everything in our power to protect those that have been victims and those that, to protect those that may end up becoming victims through our inaction. I don't want to make this a political issue, party political issue, and I only share the learnings or the potential failings of the last government to inform the debate. But I do acknowledge and pay tribute to the positive steps that the previous government did make in this space. But clearly, the reason we are here today is those steps were not enough. And I'm really grateful to the opposition benches for providing full support to this bill. So, root causes. These are not excuses for men or perpetrators to commit crimes, but they may lead to higher risks or a more difficult experience for those affected. Austerity and devastating cuts to public services, reduced funding for those that support victims of domestic violence and sexual abuse. And these cuts may have led to fewer resources and support options for women in need. Weakening of social welfare programmes. Policies aimed at reducing social welfare spending can disproportionately affect women who are more likely to rely on these programmes. This leads to an increased economic insecurity and vulnerability to abuse. Insufficient legal protections and funding for the courts. There have been criticisms regarding enforcement of laws relating to domestic violence and sexual abuse, inadequate training for law enforcement and judicial personnel, which can result in poor handling of cases and insufficient protection for victims. A lack of focus on gender equality. Policies that do not actively promote gender equality can perpetuate systemic issues that put women at risk. This includes not addressing their gender pay gaps, the lack of affordable childcare, and insufficient support for women in the workforce. The failure to implement the recommendations of the J Review to support the victims of child sexual abuse and to protect children from the same risks. I had a constituent that came to me in a surgery, and she recounted her experience that the person she was living with had drugged her repeatedly and raped her repeatedly. She had reported this to the police, who promised to take immediate action and arrest the alleged perpetrator. Unfortunately, and I haven't got the details and I won't go into the details here, the perpetrator is currently living not very far from the victim who alleged abuse against him. So I urge the government to take immediate steps to protect those who have been abused or who are making allegations of abuse from further trauma from being close by or having their alleged abuser walking the streets and feeling unsafe every single moment of the day. I welcome and commend the government's commitment to combat violence against all women and girls by 50% over the next 10 years, and I associate myself with the positive policies that have been proposed. But I will urge the government to not leave any stone unturned and to put in place once and for all the maximum practical measures that can reduce the harm to women and girls forever in our society. And I just want to make a quick reference to attention to the plight of the BAME community and the women and children in BAME community. They have similar but also particular issues around language barriers, fear that they will not be believed or understood, fear of discrimination by statutory services such as police and social services based upon, I will give...
You talked about the need... sorry, thank you. The honourable member talked about the need for people to be believed. I wondered if he could talk a bit further about that in his summing up.
I absolutely agree. I think every single person who reports a crime, and especially such crimes of being abused violently or sexually, they must be taken seriously from the moment that they are presenting their issue to the relevant authorities or any responsible person. Any person who turns a blind eye to any such reports is directly or indirectly, I believe, complicit. So I think we need to tighten up on the processes. We, of course, want to avoid miscarriages of justice, but it's really important that people are listened to. Fear they will become isolated from family or community if they seek help or leave the relationship, or fear they may lose residency in the UK where immigration status is an issue. It is imperative, therefore, that support services are culturally aware and sensitive to the needs of the BAME women exist to provide them with the specialised...